Draftstars round 16 review show. We kick it off with the Eagles v the Storm. It was a very interesting game, plenty of points in this one, and unfortunately didn't go my way, that's for sure. I went for Garrick as a pretty important option there, and would have been great if he was actually able and willing. Fortunately got a nice hip issue there in a tackle and ended up not being able to run too much. So an 18 for him was tough. Having Kohler there with 65 was a great selection. Really happy with that. And I spoke about Jerome Hughes being a good one also, and that worked out great there. Davey with 33 was okay for his price point, and I went with Paseka and also Kamakamika there. That's two guys that I think could get 40 plus, and both just didn't get the minutes, unfortunately. And then Croker with the extra cash that I had was a 22. So that was tough, but I didn't really speak too much about him as an option, thankfully, to you guys. And the guys that did well, obviously, Chris Lewis was okay as a cheaper option there at 33, but, Justin Olam won that battle. DCE in the halves, obviously a lot more expensive, and then Nelson getting a meaty. So that was that first game. Obviously not great for me, and well done to those that did well. We go the Knights v the Titans, and spoke about a few guys that I thought could do pretty well in this one, and Greg Marzou was a guy I was pretty keen on, and he got the 41. Obviously got the try, which was okay. Texie with 34, here or there as to how good that was. But it's obviously Edric Lee and Dom Young, the two kings in this one, scoring 8 tries between them. So if you didn't own them, you were cooked. I spoke about Beau Fermor as being a great option, and the late inclusion of David Fafita killed me with McIntyre, unfortunately. Barnett having a struggler with 37, and Clune just being okay with the 32. But if you didn't have Edric and Dom Young, you weren't going too well in this game. So that was that one there. Overall, just a strange game, to be honest, with the Knights just dominating that one. Went all right here in the Panthers v the Roosters game in terms of my selections there. Brian To'o was a clear top pick, and he did great. Joey Manu went out there and absolutely dominated with like 14 tackle breaks. So he was the guy to pick if you could do that. I was looking at getting some good scores from Cleary, who ended up okay, but for the price point, you were hoping for a 75 plus. And Jerome Luai getting the 20 only, with Roosters playing pretty well and kind of dominating this one. Takaaho, I spoke about it as being a great selection, and that panned out nicely. And then Nat Butcher getting the start late was a clear, obvious pick. Leota was okay. Suali'i with the 28 wasn't his best, but we can expect that every second week from him, to be honest, with the odd good ones. But well done to those guys that picked up Isaac Tungo as well, who had one of his better games. And we spoke about Radley as probably not being a cracking selection in that one. But picked up the double up, thankfully, in that one there. I had a couple more games I had to play with, which was the Dogs v the Sharks there. And this one was, again, an interesting one in the wet, which didn't work out for guys like Matty Burton, which I didn't select. I went with Nico Hines, just thinking that Sharks would probably win this one. And Nico's been incredible over the last, pretty much the whole season, to be honest. And with the amount of massive kick meters that he gets, he's someone that really gets out there and dominates. My outside backs were the tough ones this week, so I went pretty cheap just so I could spend up in other sections there. Averillo and Shop both got 20 and an 18, which obviously wasn't ideal for anyone who wanted to pick up those guys. And you have no chance of winning that one. Maxi King was solid, so I went for him at that price point. For Tala Mariner, getting some decent points there. And then I went for Pangai Jr. with my extra big cash, and unfortunately he got injured in just his first stint. So not ideal at all with Pangai there. And then Moylan I went for at the cheaper price, and that didn't pan out. I spoke about Karaz as being an okay option. Decided to go against him and went a bit cheaper. So it didn't really matter if we went Karaz, Averillo, or Shop. You obviously wanted some Sharks guys, and then going a bit cheaper in the back row, or the forwards there with Graham and also Nakora and Marshall King. If you went with him, you obviously could win this one like Zub did, rather than going for Nico, for example. And when these big money guys win is when all the other options in that section struggle. And when Marshall King came out and did well, that made it hard for anyone to own Hines and dominate that one. So Cowboys and Broncos for the last one I played, and then I'll go through my selections for that last few. And this is a fun game. Obviously, being a Cowboys supporter was lovely. He picked up Kyle Felt, and he had a great game. Obviously scored a try in that one. We had Peter Hiku, who has been super consistent. Unfortunately, this game he was not. Picking Reece Robson over Reynolds would have been great in this one. Obviously, Cowboys winning. I didn't expect it to be that much of a blowout, to be honest. And that many points in general. But going for Carrigan, who got 26, was poor. McLean was fine from my selection there. But Cohen Hess picking him up, getting injured was annoying. And Ezra going not so great. But the young guns are being awesome in these games here, with Cobbo getting 60. You had Holmesy there with 45, Corey Oates another 60 odd, and a couple of low ones here. And this guy could still win the competition this week. So well done to that one. Just a few guys that very unexpected. Guys like Pat Carrigan was not good enough. So we moved to the Bunnies with the Eels, and spoke about a couple of guys that could do well, but overall, guys like Damien Cook was someone I was thinking about as being a pretty well must-have, with how great he's been scoring those mid-70s, 80s on a regular basis. Cam Murray, another one of those guys that just absolutely dominates. Latrell Mitchell was one I said probably to stay away from this week, and he did solidly without going good really well or terrible, which is fine. Colin Matangi, a solid one there. Didn't pick up a try this week, but obviously is always a pretty good option. And Penasini was not a great one for me. Gutho was the one that came out and did a lot better in this game. Shawnee Lane I keep talking about, and he performed incredibly. So if you picked him up, you did really well in that one. In terms of our next few games, we had a pretty big win from the Warriors, and we thought that they actually might come out and do so. And in terms of guys that actually did well, there was, Sean Johnson came out and did that, and I definitely did not speak about him. We had Ewan Aiken moving back into the back row, and he made 50 tackles and 150 meters there with a few attacking stats. And if you decide to go for him being in the outside backs this week, he obviously had a great game there. Other guys we spoke about a little bit were Joshy Curran, for example, in that back row. And then on the Tiger side of the ball, not too much to get excited about, let's be honest. We had Faamanu Brown. I didn't speak about too much, but he had a solid one there. With Saithfast come in as a late starter. Didn't speak about him. We spoke about Offengawe being a terrific option, and he absolutely killed it. And then Lukey Garner's always been solid there, and I spoke about Kelma Tuolangi probably having to pick him at 11,500 to come out and help you out. So if you picked any of those guys, you did well. In terms of our last game, I spoke a little bit about Mr. Jack Wyden being a solid option, and he did okay, again, without being spectacular. Joey Tarpany continues to absolutely dominate, and of course, we had a late change from Sticky, bringing Elliott off the bench, but he did come on with 49 minutes and have a really good game. Hudson Young as well, being that real dominant figure. Xavier Savage did his job, to be honest. He got the try, which was lovely, a few tackle breaks, so if you picked him up, you're happy with that. Moses Sully keeps doing his thing. Amone had a much better game. And then, if you picked up Jaden Sewer, who I spoke about as well, he had a great game, obviously getting the 80 minutes, so a higher score than he had been in recent time. And Benny Hunt just doing okay there. The biggest one that kind of missed out on there was, that cheaper price for Cody Ramsey. I still think that was ridiculous that he was under 10K. But, 4 tackle breaks and a line break was solid enough for him. And that was the chat. That's the wrap up for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the week of footy. Obviously, thinking into next week is just if the rain's still about, just having some contingency plans late in the night, or just pre game day or pre in that hour before when you're sorting out your team, is just getting that in line based on those conditions as well. Some games it changes a bit, and just obviously just work out where it is in Australia as to how bad the weather is. But that's video, guys. Jump in and hit that sign up button there to get you in for next week. And I wish you all the best of luck setting up your teams. See you guys.